like MVP, Most Valuable Promotions, and Jake Paul, and Nasir. Uh, Bur I gotta look up his last name again, but the two guys who are running MVP linked up with Netflix, and they had this huge MMA card that happened this weekend, and I think it was somewhat of a success. I'm gonna come on in a future show with more numbers, like actual um, results of how many people were in attendance, how many people watched live, how many people watched in total, and things like that. But in what I saw, in like the later card event, starting with the Dos Santos fight, it was pretty interesting because almost every fight ended quickly and in a knockout. And you don't see that happening very often, right? So, Dos Santos versus Despain, right? I don't know this guy, but I have seen Dos Santos fight in the past. And this guy, Despain, he's a pretty good fighter. He got a first round knockout. Um, I thought that the way that he was standing though, this Baines, if I'm saying his name wrong, right? Someone correct me also, but his fighting stance so lazy, right? Like hands down, chin out, just kind of like. I mean, I get it, the psychology behind it, trying to sucker someone in and catch him with the counter punch, because that's exactly what he did. But it's just a little weird to see people fight with their hands down, right? That cockiness that kind of comes into play. And slowly moving around, waiting. And you could totally tell if you're watching him fight that he's looking for that counter punch, right? So um, that's exactly what he did. He waited for Junior Dos Santos to come in with some punches, and he countered him, bam, and hit him with some really powerful shots. Um, Seeing Dos Santos fight and lose the way he lost, kind of, the reality of age set in watching fights on that night, right? Like a lot of the fighters are around my age, right? Older millennials, OG millennials, between the ages of like 41 and 39. And it showed, right? Like, I know, no doubt, all of these fighters, even Dos Santos, would have no problem whooping my ass, right? Like, I got injuries now and I'm out of shape and shit. But um, sometimes when you see a professional fight and he's past his age and his prime, at that point, it's like, all right, at what point do you start um, bringing a little bit of shame onto your legacy, right? Like, I don't think any of the people who lost brought shame onto their legacy, but I definitely don't see it helping. Like Junior Dos Santos getting in there and losing the way he lost, that can't help his reputation at all. And I mean, he seemed like he left on top, right? Like people like me who don't follow the sport extremely closely still know who he is, right? So I was a little sad to see that happen the way it happened, but when you're going in there against a counterpuncher like this guy Despain, you got to watch yourself. Naganu versus Lin or Ngannou, right, versus Lins was one of the heavyweight matches of the year in my opinion, right? Like even though it was an MMA fight, these guys standing up like it was a boxing match. And first round KO and Ngannou wins. Um, I understand that why, right? Like Ngannou is a champion, and I definitely look forward to watching him fight more. And I would like to see him fight against Despain. After watching these two fight, I gotta get a new chair, man. This squeaky ass chair is pissing me off. But anyways, after watching these two fight and like in a back to back match, I would love to see these two fight each other. I would put my money on Ngannou to beat Despain only because I like his fighting tactics and style more. And with Despain, yeah, Despaini, whatever, however you say his name, you can't keep your hands down with every fighter you go against because eventually you're going to run into a fighter who's going to light you up. And Ngannou might be that one. So there were a lot of people, I guess, afterwards who were kind of calling him out, right? Like, what is it? Jim Jones, I think is his name, was there. Anderson Silva was there. He was sitting right next to Anderson Silva. Those two kind of stood up afterwards. Um, be interesting to see where they go next. Um, and an interesting thing, it was also it was my birthday that weekend or the weekend prior, and so we went out to eat. Mm, so yeah, me and my girlfriend, we went out. She took me out to eat and went to Fogo's, I guess is what it's called over there in It's like a Brazilian restaurant, Brazilian kind of like a almost a buffet, very extravagant, very pricey. And we saw one of the trainers there. One of Lenz's trainers was there eating lunch as well. So it was kind of cool because I didn't recognize him. Right, like I looked over and saw him while he was eating. I was like, man, that guy looks like he's a fighter or something. I wonder if he's in town for the fights. And then, sure enough, he was one of the trainers who came out when the fight ended. He was the big swole guy with the hair kind of slicked backwards, Hispanic guy, looked Brazilian. Uh, Fogo's Brazilian food, man, that place was good. Go there with an appetite, though. Um, Moving on, we had Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry. Man, did these two throw blows and go all out, man. Like, it was a great Nate Diaz fight. I would have liked to see him win, but he did not win. He got beat up, but he, like he always does, stayed in it as long as he could go. Mike Perry won in the second round with a TKO win. The referee stopped the fight due to the amount of blood loss that Nate Diaz suffered. And it was a bloodbath. A lot of people assumed it was going to be a bloodbath because if you've ever seen a Nate Diaz fight, when he gets cut, he bleeds, and he gets cut very easily, right? Like the Conor McGregor fight was a bad one. He got cut up pretty bad in that one. But it's all that scar tissue, right? Like that scar tissue, it's a real thing. So I do wonder how much blood Nate Diaz lost in total in that fight, considering how long he was leaking blood and from how many different places he was leaking blood from, right? Like I was expecting the referee to stop it sooner than he did. And I give all the credit to Mike Perry, right? Like, he is a beast, man. That boy could throw some punches, and I think unleashing him in the cage with a different set of rules just makes him that much more vicious. And I heard him talking on Ariel Hawani's show today, and he was talking about what was next for him, right? And it's funny because he's like, man, I just got to get my life back in order, right? Got to get my bills set back up on the payment plans and this and that. I'm like, man, this guy just got some normal ass life problems, like the rest of us. But it's going to be interesting to see where they both go. I'm impressed with Nate Diaz as I always am and his willpower to not quit. But it was kind of like I thought it was going to be and how I spoke in the last show, right? Like Nate Diaz, he's going to punch you a bunch of times and he was landing a bunch of jabs, right? But there's just not an extreme amount of power coming behind those jabs and those punches and those awkward, kicks, as opposed to a Mike Perry where he hit him with one elbow and the gash in the side of Nate Diaz's head was just what stopped the fight ultimately. And that was like the third cut that Nate had suffered that night, right? And it was just in 2 rounds. So I would like to see a rematch between the two, especially considering that Nate Diaz has now had time to get back in the ring and experience a real fight, going full speed to kind of get you back in the game, right? Like we'll see what he does next. But definitely Mike Perry, this guy Platinum Mike, man, I'm gonna follow you, bro. Like, and watch all of your fights from here on out to see what your career turns into, because you got a great career in front of you, man. With that aggression, right? That type of aggression will take you far in fighting. So it takes us to the Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano fight. First round TKO submission. Ronda Rousey wins. Yep. The fight did end a lot earlier than I was expecting it to end. I was hoping to get at least 2 rounds, right? But shit, we didn't even get 30 seconds, man. It's just sad because I've never seen Gina Carano fight, and so I've never seen what she can do. And I still haven't gotten a chance to see what she can do, right? She just got taken down real quick. And I kind of don't like the smiling that happened, right? Like there was a smile that went across Gina's face before not only before she tapped out, but like as soon as she got taken to the ground, right? Like you can see, and they showed a couple different angles, but after Ronda Rousey takes Gina to the ground, right? And right before she goes in with the punch, there's a shot where you see Gina's face to the side and she's smiling, right? And in my mind, when I saw it, I was like, oh, this fucking bitch, man, this is all a setup, right? This was, and it makes sense for it to be a setup, but the way in which she lost, with how quickly she lost, and then smiling before and after the loss was just kind of like, man, what a setup. Sure, it's great for Ronda Rousey to be back in the cage and making an impact and try and have an ending to her story the way she wants to, but I don't see her going back into the cage fighting, let alone fighting against someone younger and more hungry. Maybe we might see her against Holmes as a rematch. I hear a lot of people talking about hoping to get to see that rematch. I don't particularly think it would happen. I don't think Ronda would want that to happen because now that she's gone out on top, she's gone out on top. And she's already talked about how she wants to take on that ambassador role for MVP. So she doesn't have to fight in order to still make a whole bunch of money with this company. Um, they stole the house though, and that's something that you learn in wrestling, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Ronda didn't pick this up in WWE, or if Logan Paul didn't tell Jake Paul about it, since Logan Paul is a new star in WWE. But in wrestling, when you steal a house, it's basically saying, all right, we have all these people's money. Now we can do what we want to do because we already got their money, right? And so that's exactly what happened. They ended it as quickly as they possibly could, and they walked away with a bag, a huge bag. And just for doing the minimum, right? I don't think that Gina took one solid punch. You know, those punches that Ronda threw when she was mounting didn't hit or connect. And seeing the way that Ronda did that armbar, after watching Ronda Rousey in WWE for 2 years do an armbar, it looked like she did it the way she did it to a wrestler in order to not hurt them, as opposed to a real life armbar where you're going to break this lady's arm. Because when Ronda got the armbar in, the way Gina wrenched with her shoulder, it would have popped that shoulder right out of socket and broke the elbow at the same time, right? So I don't think she had a legit armbar in. I think the whole thing was a wrestling match meant and set up to get a huge bag, and they did. So congratulations to the ladies. Congratulations to MVP and Jake Paul and Nasir Barid. I'll get his name up there, man. I can't get it right, man. He's a Persian guy. I can't remember his name exactly, but it's kind of interesting to see all the Persians taking over the fighting game right now, right? Like a lot of Iranians taking over the fighting industry, right? The guy Nasir is Iranian. I believe the owners of TKO are Iranian. So I don't know. It's weird to see a lot of these Middle Eastern countries starting to run so many big things here in the United States.